Hello everyone, welcome to the introduction video for the Samsung 5K. If you haven't met me, I'm Katie Alton. I run the fitness center at Samsung in Mountain View. So welcome to my garage. I'm just gonna give you guys some information on getting started. So I've brought a couple things out that I think would be super helpful for getting started if many of you haven't done a 5K or just taking up running or it's been a while. Just some tips before getting started on our training adventure. So I'm going to start with running shoes. These are mine. If they're worn out, you've put about 300 miles on them or about 6 months. If you're not running a lot, just basically wearing them down. If they don't feel as supportive as they first were, if they smell terrible, and they just look ready to go, it's probably about time. I'd recommend getting a new pair of shoes now versus later, just so you don't have any blistering or any uncomfortable issues on the day that running is the most important. So after shoes, I'm going to get into kind of the training and recovery equipment that I find super useful. The first thing I've got is going to be a foam roller. This is just a trigger point foam roller. There's many different kinds that you can get, but as far as quality goes, I've had this one for quite some time and it's still not worn down or flattened, and I use it a bunch. So another thing you can do that's pretty cheap is that if you go to Home Depot and just get the PVC pipe that's kind of this diameter, you can use that as well. And it's a lot more painful, a lot more massaging. Next thing is going to be a lacrosse ball. I would prefer this over a tennis ball just because you can't break it down as well. So if you're standing up against the wall with this ball, you can get your shoulders, you can lay down, you can get a lot more pinpointed massage than maybe the foam roller can. So that's another good thing to have, especially rolling out your feet. I think with running, this would be very beneficial, rolling out your feet before you throw your shoes on, do your warm up and go for a jog. Definitely try that out if you haven't before. Great tip. Next thing is going to be, I've got this heavy resistance band. So I mostly use, and it's from Skills. See some labeling right there. I use this one for stretching mostly. I don't really use it for a lot of strength training. There's about a couple exercises I can do with it just because of the actual give in the band. So finding an anchor point for this and using it for stretches, something I'm definitely going to make in a later video for our active recovery days. So look out for those. I'm not going to get into too much detail with them, but definitely something that doesn't take up a lot of space, but you can get a lot of use out of. Next thing we've got, moving more into the strength training side, the exercises or the workouts that I'm going to be doing, everything should be able to also be completed if it's just body weight. So don't worry if you don't have a complete gym setup. If you've got anything that's kind of got a little bit of weight to it, you can add that eventually, because we'll start out from week 1 to week 4, kind of adding a little bit of resistance here and there for certain exercises. There's 2 workouts a week. They are going to be the same and just progress and then back off leading up to the race run. So what I've got and what I recommend, if I was going to pick one piece of equipment for my garage, I would definitely get a resistance med ball. I've got 12 pounds, not 21, and it's kind of a more durable. I know they make Kevlar. I would have gotten that if they weren't sold out at that time, but this one's holding up pretty well. It's by PB Extreme, so from Perform Better. You can use this for rotational exercises. You can use it to squat. You can do single arm push-ups on it. There's a lot of variations that you can do with this, depending on what weight you get. For me, I'm comfortable with 12, using it for a bunch of different exercises. I've also got a sandbag. I've got a barbell and a couple plates. So I'm pretty well set up. But like I said, if you were just going to choose one thing, I would get a good old medicine ball. All right, so moving on, nutrition. I've got water bottle. So I like having the bigger guy, just because if I have like three of these a day, I know that I've had enough water. And then depending on how much I've sweat in a day, then kind of catching up with that. It's not just always about drinking water. You still want to get some sodium in as well. So if you've got an electrolyte mix or pickle juice, I think pickle juice is the cheapest and most effective to get your sodium back in. That's what's going to help you actually retain the water versus just pushing a bunch of water through and almost making your dehydration worse. So easy thing just to keep track of, making sure that you're getting enough water, as well as sodium in a day. So having a big water bottle and then maybe one that you'd like to run with that's a little bit easier to carry. I know they make a lot of collapsible flasks now that once it's empty, you can maybe just throw it in your pocket. I don't know. The world is your oyster. Um, Moving into, besides water, I've got a couple supplements. So mineral electrolytes, this is one from Onnit Nutrition. And this has got sodium, calcium, magnesium. So, minerals that are really important to get back in if you have been sweating a lot, if you've been training outside in the middle of the day. In California, it's always hot, we're always sweating. Doesn't have to be this brand. I really like it, but totally up to you. All right, so the next thing I've got is I'm going to touch on some little nutrition stuff. I'll definitely make more videos about what to have before a run, what to have in between, and what to have as a recovery meal. But right now, as far as just kind of our list of items that might be useful for this 5K, I've got a stroopwafel, I've got these shot blocks, a gel, and a little carbohydrate packet that I can throw in my water. Um, these are great for extended workouts. So if you're working out for more than an hour and you need to keep your energy up, I highly recommend using those. Just note that you can't over supplement a poor recovery. So if you are struggling to get enough sleep, get enough hydration, don't depend on these foods to really put a band-aid on that. But I highly recommend if you are having those extended workouts to have some sort of simple sugar on hand. If you are ill recovered, I don't recommend having a workout that's over 60 minutes, but the training and recovery is something that I'll definitely touch on in our training videos. So the last thing I've got is a heart rate monitor. So I've got one on my wrist as well. I've got this chest strap that I like to use for tracking my recoveries during intervals or when I'm resting, see how fast my heart rate can come back down to a resting-ish area. I think these are great to track progress starting out if you're taking a break. How long or how many minutes does it take you to come back down to kind of that resting state, or 60 to 70% of your heart rate, max heart rate? Also, how high can you get your heart rate during an interval? Do you know how hard you're working? Is this something that you can record just to keep notes? Any sort of little thing that you want to keep track of. I think that heart rate is pretty cool. Not mandatory though. My kind of training videos are going to be more for time or distance. So if you don't have a heart rate monitor, that's totally fine. So those are all the things that I kind of wanted to break up into this video. Other than that, a couple other things. The training, how that's going to work is there'll be 2 strength days a week that I'm going to make a full video of that can be accessed on YouTube. And then I'll put a little outline on Instagram or Facebook just to say that it is uploaded. But to get the full video, it will be on YouTube. And then I'll share the link to Slack, just because I don't have a customizable, easy URL to get to. The next thing, there will be 3 running workouts a week. 2 of them will be during the week with more info. One of them will be announced on Friday as kind of a weekend homework run to do, and those are usually just going to be LSD, so long, slow distance or long, slow duration. And that's just going to be kind of your longer run if you guys have more time over the weekends just to go for easy jogs, all that kind of stuff. And then there will be one active recovery day a week, and I'll also have a video about that. That's usually going to be some stretching, mobility, active recovery techniques going into that, using the bands, all that good stuff, and just a little bit more information on how to properly recover from workouts. So that'll also be a YouTube video that you can follow along with. Um, with this workout schedule, I will have a little document that you can be able to download. I believe I'm going to put that on the Slack, but I can share it to whoever needs it to be emailed them to them, and just a little plan. So the 2 strength workouts a week, the 3 runs a week, and the 1 active recovery day. It doesn't have to be in the same order. That's just ideally how we would want it to go. So whenever you have the most time to get your training in is pretty much the most important, because I highly suggest not skipping a workout. If you need to work around a certain time, then just still put it in your schedule and get it done so you can have the best result on the race weekend. So that's pretty much a wrap of this video. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to reach out to me either at my Team Exos email address or in any of the direct message platforms that I've got, like Instagram, Facebook, and Slack.